Hey there, folks. It's genuinely fab to have you back on our channel where we dive into some of today's most intriguing topics. Now, tighten your seatbelts because today we're exploring the eccentric world of urban farming. So, you might ask, what exactly is this urban farming, dude? Essentially, urban farming is like taking a piece of the rustic countryside and plonking it smack dab in the middle of the city. It's all about growing food in an urban environment. Think of it as playing Stardew Valley, except it's not on your Xbox, it's right outside your living room window. We're taking advantage of every nook and cranny we can find. We're growing tomatoes in tiny balconies, beans in small yards, lettuces in window boxes, and heck, we're even making green roofs that not only look cool, but provide delicious edibles. Small patches of land, rooftops, sidewalks, community plots, they're all fair game in the wonderful world of urban farming. Now you might say, all right, urban farming sounds like a cool concept, but why should we care? Well, the truth is, urban farming is more necessity now than luxury. Populations are booming, cities are sprawling, and there's just not enough space to grow food in traditional ways. Plus, we've got the added benefit of cutting down on the miles our food travels, reducing pollution, and let's not forget, fresh as dawn veggies and fruits right at your fingertips. Not to mention, it's a darn good way to get your hands dirty, reconnect with Mother Nature, and who knows, become a little more green thumb savvy. So, urban farming. A funky new way to look at the humble old pastime of farming, and a pretty important one at that. Stay tuned and stick around as we dive deeper into this subject in the days to come. Until then, happy urban farming, folks. So you wondered about urban farming, right? Sure thing, you're not alone, pal. It's not exactly a new kid on the block. It's been around for longer than you might think. Let's wind back the clock and take a peek at its roots. We can trace urban farming back to ancient civilizations. City folk needed grub, right? So they'd make mini gardens in their backyards. But it wasn't until World War I, with that Victory Garden movement, that things really got revved up. Citizens were asked to grow veggies on any land they could find. Parks, rooftops, empty lots, and boy, they did, producing a whopping 40 of all vegetables consumed in the USE. There were some cool cats who gave urban farming a serious leg up. Dr. Dixon Despommier, for example, had this crazy idea to build gardens upward, not outward, basically making green skyscrapers. It was a pretty revolutionary concept that presented a flashy new way of thinking about farming in cities. And I gotta mention Alice Waters. She lit a fire under the whole farm to table movement in the 70s, focusing on sustainable, organic farming in urban settings. She irreversibly influenced how we think about food and access in urban environments. Some dates to flag? Well, 1996 was pretty big. It saw the advent of the American Community Gardening Association, which provided support and guidance for urban farming projects. And then there was 2008, marked by the global financial crisis when city dwellers everywhere turned to urban farming as a means to cut back on food costs. Then, fast forward to 2015, when the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact was created, giving urban farming a very global thumbs up, with over 100 cities signing on to develop sustainable food systems. It was kind of like the worldwide internet high, 5 for urban farming. So yeah, urban farming ain't really something we've cooked up recently. It's got a far-reaching history and some pretty awesome peeps backing it. And now, more than ever, we're seeing urban farming's potential for changing the way we eat and live in cities. Urban farming, yeah, no, is like fitting an entire farm into a studio apartment. It's all about thinking outside the box and using every nook and cranny available. You can't let small spaces intimidate you because even the tiniest patch of land, or even no land at all, can burst into a crop, producing wonderland. Can you not? You got your balcony, your patio, or even that bare patch of land by your parking lot. With just some pots, planters, and a creative frame of mind, you can grow a surprising amount of food right there. But wait, there's more. Look up, way up.
Did you ever think that your roof could serve as more than just shelter from the weather?
Rooftop farming is the new black in urban agriculture, and people are catching on fast. Imagine this. You're just chilling on your roof, surrounded by pots of bright red tomatoes and crisp greens. After work, you just climb up, unwind as you water your plants, and pick some fresh food for dinner. Sounds fantastical, but it's easily doable with just a bit of planning and effort. Now, listen, community plots are the heart and soul of urban farming. Picture a plot of land in your local park embraced by the community and turned into a food oasis. Everyone pitches in, cultivating a sense of kinship along with the vegetables. Not only does it grow food, but it strengthens the community. Best of all, it opens up opportunities for everyone to learn and participate, even those who don't have a garden or a rooftop of their own. It's like an open air, everyone is welcome farming of the future kind of deal. Urban farming isn't just about growing food, it's about growing connections between people, places, and the ecosystem we're all a part of. So let's put those green thumbs to work and squeeze out all the farming glory we can from our urban spaces. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle. Urban farming, right? Yeah, you've got to love how it's been weaving its magic into our concrete jungles. It used to be that when people heard about growing crops in the city, they'd give you a weird look. Like, how are you going to plant corn in a parking lot? But that's all changed. Folks aren't quite so skeptical anymore. Now they're fascinated, inspired, and even getting their hands dirty. Public perception has done a complete 180, and folks are eager to embrace urban farming. Now, I bet you're wondering how urban farming is affecting residential areas. Well, folks, it's all good news. Pop a few vegetable plants in your backyard or a tomato vine in your balcony, and voila. You've got fresher, healthier food. And the best part, you're cutting out the transportation footprint of getting your produce from a conventional farm. So not only are you living healthier, but you're also making Mother Earth a little happier. But urban farming isn't just about making your salads a bit crunchier. Nah, it's so much more. It's a whole lifestyle, my friend. Tower gardens growing on rooftops, herbs sprouting in windowsills, and even old warehouses turning into indoor farms. It's no longer a strange concept, but a new norm. Community plots are sprouting up all over, like little green patches in a sea of concrete and steel. We're seeing folks of all walks of life, from businessmen to school kids, tending to these community plots. They're swapping the treadmill for a spade and exchanging gym time for a bit of good old-fashioned gardening. It's like hitting two birds with one stone. You get your exercise and you also get your groceries done. So urban farming is slowly but surely cementing its place in our urban lifestyles. And honestly, we are just all the better for it. Urban farming is a bit like growing tomatoes on your flat's balcony, but on steroids. The idea is brilliant, right? Grow your veggies smack dab in the middle of the concrete jungle. But hold your horses, friend. This urban farming game isn't without its hiccups. Picture a little farming oasis in the middle of the city. Now, imagine the toil that comes with it. For starters, urban spaces are not typically designed for farming. Spaces are cramped, and the soil, if there's any at all, is often jam-packed with pollutants that can be harmful to crops. Downside number 2, pests galore. The bugs and such in cities may not be used to having fresh produce around and could get pretty excited at the new buffet in town. Let's talk property value for a sec. You've probably heard folks yapping about how a neat vegetable patch or a pretty garden could boost your home's worth. But splatter some mud on it and label it urban farming, and the effects could swing the other way. Well, commercial farming activities could be frowned upon by neighbors or housing associations. They may worry about increased traffic noise or just not sharing the farm to table vision. If this happens, you might find your property price takes a hit. Switching gears, let's chew over the unintended consequences on local ecosystems. Urban farming, although it often means well, can interfere with local wildlife. What if your new veggies attract a bunch of critters that wouldn't usually hang out in your hood? Next thing you know, those critters are causing problems, upsetting the natural balance, and your urban farm is the accidental culprit. So chew on that info, pal, before you hoe your first row on the rooftop. Urban farming, for all its admirable goals, comes with its own can of worms. But remember, forewarned is forearmed. So chew on that info, pal, before you hoe your first row on the rooftop. Listen up, folks, and let's talk about something that's making some serious buzz: urban farming. To say it's a game changer would be underselling it. The impact of urban farming is kind of like that of an overachiever. In an urban setting where space is as sparse as hen's teeth, growing food in tiny plots, rooftops, even spaces you think are as useless as pockets on a shirt, has been kick. Starting some positive changes. It's not just spurring a green revolution, reducing food miles, that is, the distance food travels from farms to your plate. It also boosts the quality of air we breathe. A huge relief, right? And ramps up the green spaces in our concrete jungles more so. It's lighting up the path to community building and education about sustainable living. Now, for the million-dollar question, what's in store for the future of urban farming? With urban areas already bursting at the seams, the way I see it, things are only going uphill. Sky farming, aquaponics, hydroponics, you name it, are set to become more mainstream. Think your neighborhood looking more like mini farms with the rooftops doubling up as lush vegetable gardens. Cool, eh? A final thought, mates, urban farming ain't just a trend. It's a much needed shift towards sustainable living at a time when we're pushing our planet to the brink. Seeing as our cities are turning into heat islands, elbowing out green spaces, something's gotta give. And urban farming feels like a much needed breath of fresh air. Right then, that was my 2 cents on urban farming. Now, if you found this handy or just enjoyed listening, do me a solid, click the like button, drop a comment below, and hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on the upcoming sizzling topics, do you? Until next time, keep growing, keep farming. Let's urban farm our way to a better future.